Pain. It's the one thing we all try to avoid. We numb it. We run from it. We distract ourselves with endless scrolling, junk food, or Netflix binges. Anything to escape that uncomfortable, burning feeling. But what if I told you that pain, that exact thing you've been avoiding, is the gateway to your greatest growth? What if I told you that everything you want, success, discipline, confidence, freedom, lives on the other side of that discomfort you've been running from your whole life? Let's be honest. We live in a culture that worships comfort. Drive-thrus instead of cooking. Instant streaming instead of patience. Quick likes on social media instead of building real relationships. Everywhere we look, there's a shortcut. But here's the problem. Comfort never made anyone great. Comfort never built champions, never wrote history books, never changed the world. Comfort keeps you stuck exactly where you are. Think about it. Every single story that inspires you, every underdog who made it, every hero who rose above the odds, they all have one thing in common. They pushed through the pain. They stepped outside the warm bubble of their comfort zone and faced the cold, harsh reality of struggle. And it was in that struggle that they grew. Picture this for a second. A young athlete in a small American town, lacing up his sneakers in the dead of winter. Everyone else is sleeping in, warm under their blankets. But he's out there running, breath fogging in the freezing air, lungs burning with every step. He doesn't look like much right now, just another kid with a dream. But what separates him from the rest is that he's willing to embrace pain. While others hit snooze, he's pushing his limits. While others avoid discomfort, he's learning to make it his ally. Years later, he's standing under the bright lights of a stadium, a champion, not because he was the most talented, but because he was the most willing to suffer for his dream. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. Talent will get you noticed, but grit, your ability to endure pain, will make you unstoppable. But let's bring this closer to home. Think about your own life. How many times have you let pain stop you? Maybe it was the pain of rejection, so you never asked for the promotion. The pain of judgment, so you never launched that business idea. The pain of failure, so you never tried again after your first attempt flopped. If you're honest, you'll see a pattern. Every time pain showed up, you backed down. And every time you backed down, you stayed stuck in the same cycle. Here's the wake-up call. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher. It's the gym for your mind, the training ground for your character. Just like your muscles grow stronger by tearing and rebuilding under stress, your spirit grows stronger by enduring struggle. Think about the American dream. It was never about easy roads or guaranteed success. It was about ordinary people enduring extraordinary hardships and still daring to build a better life. The pioneers, the immigrants, the dreamers, they didn't chase comfort. They chased possibility. And they paid for it with blood, sweat, and sacrifice. That's why we admire them. That's why their stories live on. But here's the problem in today's world. Too many people confuse comfort with happiness. They think avoiding pain means living well. But avoiding pain doesn't give you a life. It gives you an existence. You might survive, but you'll never thrive. You'll never feel the fire of growth, the pride of achievement, the thrill of pushing past limits. So here's my question to you. What's your comfort zone costing you? What dreams have you buried because the path to them looked too hard? What potential have you wasted because you didn't want to feel the sting of rejection, the weight of discipline, the grind of effort? You see, the comfort zone is a silent killer. It whispers, stay here, it's safe. Don't risk, don't try, don't fail. But while you sit there safe, life passes you by. Opportunities disappear. Years slip away. And one day, you wake up realizing you've lived more like a spectator than a player. That's why growth demands pain. Not the kind of pain that breaks you down forever, but the kind that stretches you, reshapes you, forges you into something stronger. Think of a caterpillar. If it never struggles to break free from its cocoon, it will never fly. The struggle is the process. Without it, there's no transformation. And it's the same with you. You cannot grow without struggle. You cannot rise without resistance. You cannot win without pain. But here's the thing that changes everything. Once you stop fearing pain and start embracing it, you become dangerous. You become someone who doesn't quit when things get hard. You become someone who doesn't fold under pressure. You become someone who welcomes the grind, knowing it's shaping you into a version of yourself you've never seen before. The truth is, pain is temporary, but the growth it gives you lasts forever. That burning in your lungs when you run, It fades. The soreness after a workout? It heals. The sting of rejection? It passes. But what remains is strength, resilience, and the unshakable confidence of someone who knows they can handle whatever life throws at them. So as we dive into this journey together, I want you to make a decision right now. Decide that you're done running from pain. Decide that you're done letting comfort keep you small. Decide that from this moment forward, you will lean into discomfort, chase challenge, and embrace the grind. Because the truth is simple. Pain is the path, discomfort is the doorway, and growth lives outside your comfort zone. And if you're willing to step out, to endure, to push through, you will become unstoppable. This is where your story begins. Let's dig deeper. Why does pain matter so much? Why is it that every time you've grown, every time you've evolved, every time you've reached a new level, there was pain standing in your way first? Because pain is proof. Proof that you're stretching beyond what's comfortable. Proof that you're challenging the old version of yourself. Proof that you're entering the zone where growth actually happens. Think about it. When you go to the gym, what happens to your muscles? You push them, you stress them, you make them burn. And it hurts. But that very stress is what forces them to grow. Without that discomfort, they stay the same. That principle applies to every area of your life. Growth is stress. Growth is discomfort. Growth is pain. Now, let me tell you a story. A young man from Chicago wanted to escape a cycle of mediocrity. Everyone around him lived for the weekends. Work a job they hated, complain about it, repeat. But he wanted more. He wanted to break out of that cycle. So he started waking up at 5 a.m. every day to work on his business idea before going to his job. At first, it was brutal. He was tired, his friends made fun of him, and nothing seemed to work. But he kept going, day after day. For years, he lived in that pain. The pain of sacrifice, the pain of discipline, the pain of grinding with no immediate reward. Today, he runs a successful company and employs people in his community. How did he get there? By pushing through pain while everyone else avoided it. That's the lesson most people miss. Success doesn't come from chasing comfort. It comes from enduring discomfort longer than others are willing to. Look at any successful figure in American history. Athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, they all embraced pain. Oprah Winfrey endured a childhood of hardship and poverty, but used those struggles to fuel her determination. Steve Jobs was fired from the very company he started, an incredibly painful rejection, yet he came back stronger, turning Apple into one of the greatest companies in the world. Serena Williams, growing up in Compton, trained under tough conditions, facing criticism and pressure, yet she pushed through it all to become one of the greatest athletes of all time. Do you see the pattern? Pain was never the end. It was always the beginning. But here's the harsh truth. Most people won't push through. They quit at the first sign of discomfort. They tap out when things get hard. They tell themselves, this isn't for me, or it's not the right time. And that's why so few people ever live the life they dream about. The comfort zone feels safe, but it slowly kills your potential. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I actually do this? How do I get comfortable with discomfort? The answer is simple: exposure. You have to expose yourself to controlled doses of pain until your mind adapts. Think of Navy SEAL training. Those men don't become warriors by sitting on a couch. They endure freezing water, endless push-ups, miles of running, constant exhaustion. Why? Because the pain breaks down their old limits and builds resilience. They're not just training their bodies, they're training their minds to say, I can take this. I can push through. I won't quit. And when you carry that mindset into everyday life, you become unstoppable. Of course, you don't have to join the military to apply this principle. You can start small. Take cold showers to teach your mind discipline. Wake up earlier than feels comfortable. Work out harder than you want to. Speak up in meetings when you feel nervous. Push yourself to network when you'd rather stay silent. These are small acts of pain, but they train your mind and spirit to grow. And here's something powerful. The more you face discomfort, the less power it has over you. The first time you step out of your comfort zone, it feels terrifying. But the 100th time, it feels normal. That's growth. What once felt impossible becomes second nature. Think about it like climbing stairs. Each step up is a little uncomfortable. Your legs burn, your lungs strain. But the more steps you climb, the stronger you get. And when you look back, you realize how far you've come. That's life. Every step into discomfort elevates you to a new level. But here's where many people stumble. They confuse pain with punishment. They think, if it hurts, it must mean I'm doing something wrong. That's not true. Pain doesn't always mean stop. It often means you're on the right track. Growth is supposed to hurt. The cocoon breaking is supposed to be painful for the butterfly. The grind is supposed to be painful for the athlete. The sacrifice is supposed to be painful for the entrepreneur. That's how transformation works. The problem is, society has conditioned us to avoid anything uncomfortable. Take this pill to feel better. Swipe for instant dopamine. Order fast food and avoid cooking. Everywhere, shortcuts are sold to us as solutions. But the reality is, those shortcuts rob us of growth. They might spare us pain today, but they cost us strength tomorrow. Let me make this real for you. Imagine two people. One takes the easy road every time, avoids challenges, avoids risk, avoids discomfort. The other chooses the harder path, faces challenges head-on, takes risks, embraces discomfort. Fast forward 10 years. The first person is stuck in the same place, maybe even worse off, wondering why life feels empty. The second person? Stronger, wiser, more successful, and confident, because they train themselves to endure pain and use it as fuel. Which one do you want to be? So here's the challenge for you right now. Stop asking for an easier life and start asking for stronger shoulders. Stop praying for comfort and start praying for courage. Stop waiting for the pain to disappear and start walking through it. Because if you can learn to push through pain, you'll discover something incredible. Pain doesn't break you, it builds you. It strips away weakness. It forges resilience. It turns you into someone capable of handling success when it finally arrives. The truth is, pain and growth are inseparable. You can't have one without the other. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll stop running and start rising. Let's shift gears and talk about the transformation that happens when you actually stay in the fire instead of running from it. Because pain doesn't just build strength, it builds character, identity, and an unshakable mindset. Think about the first time you tried something hard. Maybe it was running a mile in high school gym class. At first, your chest burned, your legs screamed, and your mind shouted, "Quit." But then, if you kept going, you crossed the finish line. Do you remember how that felt? That's not just the relief of stopping. That's the pride of realizing, I did something I didn't think I could do. That's the seed of growth. Now, magnify that same principle into bigger challenges. In the US, there are countless stories of people who've risen from nothing simply because they chose to embrace pain instead of run from it. Take Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Before he became the highest paid actor in Hollywood, he was broke, living with just $7 in his pocket. Imagine the pain of failure, his dream of playing pro football crushed. Most people would have given up, but he didn't. He stepped into a wrestling ring, endured the grueling schedule, the physical pain, the ridicule, the rejection. He kept going through every setback, every bruise, every sleepless night. Today, he's not just successful, he's a global symbol of resilience. His empire was built on pain turned into power. Or think about J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter became a cultural phenomenon, she was a struggling single mother on welfare, rejected by publisher after publisher. Can you imagine the pain of being told no over and over again, while trying to feed your child and keep hope alive? She could have given up, but she didn't. She pushed through rejection, through self-doubt, through the discomfort of writing when the world told her she wasn't good enough. Today, her books have sold over 500 million copies. What do these stories tell us? They prove that pain is the testing ground for greatness. If you can withstand the fire, you emerge stronger, sharper, unstoppable. But here's the key. You have to reframe pain. Most people see it as a stop sign. Winners see it as a green light. Most people say, "This hurts, I should quit." Winners say, "This hurts, I must be growing." This is what separates the average from the exceptional. Everyone feels pain. Everyone struggles. Everyone faces rejection, setbacks, and failure. But not everyone interprets it the same way. Average people let pain define them. Extraordinary people let pain refine them. And here's something powerful. Pain reveals who you really are. It strips away excuses. When life gets hard, you see what you're truly made of. That's why adversity has always been the birthplace of greatness. Think about American history. Every defining moment in this country came through pain. The Great Depression crushed millions. but it also forged a generation of resilient, hardworking men and women who rebuilt the nation. The civil rights movement was filled with pain, beatings, arrests, humiliation, but it pushed America toward justice and equality. Even the story of 9/11 is not just one of tragedy, but of resilience. Firefighters, police officers, and ordinary citizens running toward danger, showing that pain can bring out the strongest parts of humanity. So when you face pain in your own life, remember this. You're standing in the same fire that has forged champions, leaders, and history makers. The question is, will you let it burn you out, or will you let it build you up? Now, let's get personal again. Pain isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's the daily grind of waking up early to go to work, taking night classes to earn a degree, saying no to short-term pleasures so you can build long-term success. That's pain too. And too often, people dismiss it because it doesn't look glamorous. But those small daily discomforts are where real transformation happens. Think of the immigrant father who works 2 jobs, sacrificing sleep and comfort so his children can have a better life. Think of the single mom who skips buying new clothes for herself so she can pay for her kids' school supplies. Think of the college student who studies late into the night while others are partying, enduring the pain of discipline so he can graduate at the top of his class. These stories may never make headlines, but they are the heartbeat of growth. Ordinary people choosing pain today for a better tomorrow. And guess what? That same choice is available to you. So ask yourself, what pain am I avoiding right now? The pain of working out, so I stay stuck in poor health. The pain of saving money, so I live paycheck to paycheck. The pain of rejection, so I never chase my dreams. The pain of discipline, so I keep settling for mediocrity. The truth is, you can't avoid pain. Life will give it to you either way. You either suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And regret is always heavier. That's why the people who grow, the people who rise, the people who change their lives, are the ones who choose their pain. They say, I'll take the pain of early mornings, the pain of sweat, the pain of sacrifice, because I refuse to carry the crushing weight of regret. And here's where it gets exciting. Once you make that decision, pain becomes your ally. It stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like progress. Every rep in the gym, every hour of hard work, every uncomfortable conversation, it all becomes proof that you're moving forward. Remember, diamonds are just coal that stayed under pressure. Steel is forged in fire. Heroes are born in struggle. You are no different. The growth you're craving, the success you dream about, the life you want, it's not hiding inside comfort. It's waiting for you in the fire. And the only way to get there is to push through the pain. Now that we've talked about how pain refines you and how history proves its power, let's shift into something even more personal. What happens to your mind when you stop avoiding pain and actually embrace it? Because the real battlefield isn't your body, it isn't your schedule, it's your mindset. See, in the US, we're constantly sold comfort. Fast food, same-day shipping, binge-worthy shows, credit cards that let us buy now and pay later. Everything is designed to make life easier, quicker, more comfortable. And don't get me wrong, comfort has its place. But if comfort becomes your default state, you rob yourself of growth. You stop testing your limits. You stop evolving. And eventually, you start settling for less than you're capable of. Think about it. When was the last time you did something that scared you, that stretched you, that made you feel like you might fail? For most people, it's been a long time. And that's the problem. Growth doesn't happen in easy mode. It happens in the struggle. Let me give you a real example. Have you ever heard of David Goggins? He's known as one of the toughest men alive. Navy SEAL, ultramarathon runner, motivational icon. But here's the part most people forget. He used to be overweight, depressed, spraying for cockroaches as a dead-end job. He could have stayed there forever, hiding from discomfort. But one day, he looked in the mirror and decided enough was enough. He embraced pain. He trained like a maniac. He pushed his body and mind further than most people can even imagine. Today, he's living proof that embracing discomfort creates transformation. And he says something powerful. Most people quit when they've only given 40% of what they're capable of. Just sit with that for a second. That means right now, even if you feel tired, beaten down, or maxed out, you probably have 60% left in the tank. But you'll never find it until you push past the point of comfort. So let me ask you, Where are you stopping at 40% in your life? In your career? In your relationships? In your fitness? In your dreams? The pain you're avoiding might just be the doorway to the other 60%. Now, let's talk about fear, because pain and fear are twins. They show up together. The moment you step outside your comfort zone, fear whispers, "What if you fail? What if people laugh at you? What if it hurts too much?" And most people listen. They back down. They retreat into safety. But here's the truth. Fear isn't a stop sign, it's a compass. It points directly to the areas where you have the most potential to grow. Think about public speaking. Surveys show it's one of America's biggest fears, sometimes even more than death. But some of the most successful leaders in the US, Oprah, Steve Jobs, Barack Obama, they became iconic not just because of their ideas, but because they learned to speak powerfully. Do you think they were comfortable at first? Absolutely not. But they leaned into the fear. They practiced. They bombed. They got better. And now, they're remembered as some of the most influential voices of their time. The same applies to you. The thing you fear most, the thing that feels uncomfortable, is often the exact thing that will change your life the most. But here's where people get it twisted. Pushing through pain doesn't mean recklessness. It doesn't mean destroying your health or ignoring your limits. It means controlled discomfort. It means intentionally stepping into challenges that stretch you, not break you. It's like lifting weights. Too light, and you don't grow. Too heavy, and you get injured. But the right weight, the one that burns, the one that hurts just enough, that's where the magic happens. And this isn't just physical. It's financial too. In the US, people are drowning in credit card debt because they avoid the pain of discipline, the pain of saying no to a purchase, the pain of saving when it feels tight, the pain of investing when it feels risky. And because they avoid that discomfort, they trade it for the long-term agony of debt, stress, and financial instability. The truth is, short-term pain creates long-term freedom. Long-term comfort creates long-term regret. Relationships? Same story. Avoiding tough conversations feels comfortable in the moment, but the resentment that builds over time is way more painful. Leaning into the discomfort of honesty, the awkward talks, the vulnerable admissions, the painful truths, those are what build real connection. So if you want to grow, you have to start rewiring your brain to see pain as a signal, not an enemy. Pain says, pay attention. This is where you're about to grow. Here's a mental trick. The next time you face something uncomfortable, instead of saying, "This sucks," try saying, "This is the part where I level up." That simple reframe changes everything. Instead of running from discomfort, you start hunting for it. You start craving it, because you know that's where the treasure is buried. Let me bring this home with another story. Picture a young entrepreneur in Silicon Valley, working out of a garage. He's rejected by investors, mocked by competitors, nearly bankrupt. He pushes through sleepless nights, failed prototypes, constant criticism. Who was he? Steve Jobs. And that little garage company? Apple. Or think about Elon Musk, who risked everything, literally sleeping on the factory floor, when Tesla and SpaceX were both on the verge of collapse. He went through unimaginable pressure and ridicule, but he stayed in the fire. Today, those companies are shaping the future of technology. None of these stories are about comfort. They're about courage. They're about leaning into pain, into fear, into discomfort, and refusing to quit. So the question is, are you ready to do the same? Are you ready to stop treating pain like the enemy and start treating it like the guide? Because here's the hard truth. No one else can do it for you. Not your parents, not your boss, not your spouse, not your coach. It's you versus you. You versus your excuses. You versus your comfort zone. And only one side can win. Every time you choose to push through the pain, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you choose comfort, you're casting a vote for the person you're trying to leave behind. So which one are you voting for today? So here we are. We've talked about pain. We've talked about fear. We've talked about comfort zones, growth, and the stories of people who became unstoppable by refusing to quit when it hurt. But now, it's not about them anymore. It's about you. You watching this right now, you're at a crossroads. And maybe you don't even realize it. On one side is comfort, easy choices, shortcuts, excuses. It's warm, it's safe, it's predictable, but it comes with a hidden cost, regret. On the other side is pain, discipline, sacrifice, fear, discomfort, but it comes with something priceless, growth, freedom, pride. and the life you've always wanted. And here's the thing, no one can walk that path for you. You can watch 1,000 motivational videos, you can listen to every podcast, you can read all the books. But if you don't make the choice to step into the fire, nothing changes. Motivation is the spark, but action is the fire. So ask yourself, what are you avoiding right now? What conversation are you afraid to have? What dream are you scared to chase? What habit are you too comfortable to break? Whatever it is, that's the pain you need to push through. That's the discomfort standing between you and your breakthrough. Let me tell you something important. It's not supposed to be easy. The pain you're feeling, the fear in your chest, the voice in your head telling you to quit, that's not a sign you're on the wrong path. It's a sign you're on the right path. Growth hurts. Transformation hurts. But you know what hurts more? Waking up 10 years from now realizing you stayed the same. Picture this. 10 years from now, you're sitting alone, thinking back on your life. You remember the dreams you had, the goals you wanted, the person you knew you could become. And then you realize you never even tried. You stayed comfortable. You stayed safe. And now it's too late. That pain, that regret, is permanent. But imagine the opposite. Imagine 10 years from now, looking back and saying, I did it. I pushed through. I took the hits. I faced the fear. I lived outside my comfort zone. And because of that, I built a life I'm proud of. That version of you is waiting on the other side of the pain you're avoiding today. The question is, who do you want to meet in 10 years? The version of you who gave up? Or the version of you who became unstoppable? And don't think for a second this is about massive, dramatic leaps. It's not. It's about daily choices. Every time your alarm goes off and you get up instead of hitting snooze, you're pushing through pain. Every time you choose the salad over the fries, you're pushing through pain. Every time you make the call, send the email, do the workout, stay disciplined, you're casting votes for your future self. It's not one big moment. It's 1,000 small ones. Pain is not a one-time test. It's a lifestyle. And the people who succeed are the ones who make peace with that lifestyle. Let me be real with you. It won't happen overnight. You'll fail. You'll fall. You'll want to quit. But that's part of the process. And when you feel that, remember this. Failure is not the end. It's feedback. Pain is not punishment. It's preparation. Discomfort is not danger. It's the doorway. So stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting until you feel ready. You'll never feel ready. Growth doesn't wait for comfort. It demands courage. And that courage, it's already inside you. Right now, you don't need permission. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to decide. Decide that today is the day you step into the fire. Decide that today is the day you stop running from pain and start running through it. Decide that today is the day you leave behind comfort and chase the life you were born to live. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't need more people who played it safe. The world doesn't need more people who stayed in their comfort zones. The world needs you at your strongest, your boldest, your most resilient. And that version of you can only be born in the fire of discomfort. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing today that scares you. One thing you've been putting off. One step that feels uncomfortable. And do it. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Prove to yourself that you can push through. Prove to yourself that pain won't break you. Prove to yourself that growth is worth it. Because once you start, once you take that step, you'll realize something powerful. You are stronger than you think. You are braver than you believe. And you are capable of far more than you've ever imagined. This is your life. This is your story. And the next chapter starts now. Step out of your comfort zone. Push through the pain. And watch yourself transform into the unstoppable force you were always meant to be.